Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. You can probably hear a bit of echo on that. I apologize for that. How are we all doing today? You are back. Well, you are back. I am back with the one and only stream today. Yes, there's no second bites of the cherry today. I am actually off celebrating. Yes, I'm off celebrating, but don't worry. We're going to be back with your watch along. I'm getting loads of messages saying, are you doing a watch along tomorrow? Yada, yada, yada. Of course I am. We'll have loads of content for you tomorrow as well. But yeah, I'm heading off celebrating a senior journalism exam result. So I've been taken out by my lovely girlfriend. So there you go. There won't be a second stream today, but don't worry. We've got all of your content covered across this weekend where Leeds United are facing Blackburn Rovers, Yondal Thomason's Blackburn Rovers. So yeah, we'll be back with all the content tomorrow. We've got an entire schedule now for Patreon where Patreon users are going to be seeing 3 to 4 videos a week. We're going to be looking to introduce YouTube memberships as well to the channel where people who pay a little bit extra just get maybe a video or two per week as well. So stay tuned for that one, everybody. But we are back here with your Blackburn preview. So get your comments in the section below. I'm seeing all of you guys flooding in here. Are you going to Ewood tomorrow, Connor? I'm not, unfortunately, mate. Wish I was doing, but it got pulled last minute, unfortunately. Hope for another 3 points tomorrow, Connor. Keep momentum going and put pressure on the top two. Finally made it to a live stream, says LJ. Hello. Hi, all. Hi, Alison. Lots of good Discord chat going in here. Yes, Conrad MW is in the building, guys. Before we start the videos, please make sure you're liking the content as always, and we'll be reading your comments as they come in. So Blackburn Rovers. How am I feeling about this one? Well, I've mentioned it on a couple of streams, to be honest. I've discussed what I'm expecting from Blackburn Rovers, a counter-attacking side, a side that are going to pose Leeds a few problems when it comes to transitions. I think Sammy Schmodix are obviously getting player of the month, which is interesting. Daniel Farke getting manager of the month, which is very interesting and something well-deserved after a fantastic month by the boss. But Sammy Schmodix is someone who we're going to have to look at, being Blackburn's main danger man. Obviously 7 goals in his past 9 games, or 5 games it is, actually, even better. And he's a real threat for this one, a real threat for this one. Obviously, Wharton probably the other threat, but what we see with this Blackburn Rovers side is a side built upon counter-attacking, and I think that poses a few problems for us, but also it poses a few problems for them. They won't have faced an attack as potent as ours. Why? Because there isn't an attack as potent as ours in the Championship, and I think that's going to be a problem for them. I think we're going to cause them a lot of problems. But what Leeds have to be wary about is the problems that Blackburn can cause us, obviously, coincidentally. The last time Leeds United met Blackburn Rovers, they had a half-decent attack then as well, but Leeds were able to put them away pretty comfortably under Marcelo Bielsa, that 3-1 victory at Ewood Park, which was sort of rounded off ultimately by a Calvin Phillips free kick, I believe. But yeah, Thomas has said if Wendy's get 3, we should get 6. Hi, Charlie. And I think that's what this game is all about. It's going to be about us taking his chances, at least taking the chances. I don't think we've been ruthless in front of goal this season, and I'd like to see this being that sort of game. I think Blackburn aren't the best at the back, and I think when you look at them at the back, I think there's going to be opportunities for Leeds United, and that's a real positive for us, obviously. Now, this game for me is going to be interesting to really investigate how we're going to deal with Blackburn's counter-attack. They've got the most potent player in the league, statistic-wise, and it's going to be interesting seeing how Leeds deal with an attack and real transitional moments. So how are we going to deal with the likes of Sammy Schmodix? Obviously, they have got injuries, but how are we going to deal with that? And are we going to be able to do that? I think sometimes Leeds have been caught out in the transition. They've been caught out by counter-attacks. We saw it a couple of times with Middlesbrough as well, especially at the end where they hit the post. That was a counter-attack. And I think we've got to deal with these moments better. Now, I've mentioned this several times before, that I think our defensive makeup is actually really decent. I still think we're going to have to invest if we do get to the Premier League, but I think overall it's a good defensive structure. My gripe about this defence, as you guys know, has been the fullbacks at points, just in terms of the consistency, the regularity that they've been playing, without injury, and obviously the goalkeeper, which you guys know as well. I think that the real, stone walls in this defence and the real real sort of reliable, dependable players who've delivered sort of 7 out of 10 most games have been Joe Rodon and Pascal Strauch, aside from his hernia op, of which he was only out for like 2.5, 3 weeks, which was staggering in itself. So I think always Blackburn's been a difficult place for Leeds to go, but I'm hoping anyway we get this one right, and I think there's a real opportunity for us to I think the general look on this weekend is Leeds very, very early on can put pressure on the other teams in and around us. Leicester have got a decent game, but Ipswich away at Middlesbrough. This is a real opportunity for Leeds United this weekend to get this right and to really hurt Ipswich. And going into this congested period where they've got Norwich, they've got Leicester, and they've got Leeds, we can really start to put the pressure on them. And, I do think in this period, we were talking about this on Generation Leeds not long ago on the Patreon, I do think this is the period of time, really, where Leeds can really close that gap. I don't ultimately think we're going to go above Ipswich in this period. We might narrow it down to maybe 2, maybe 3 points. But doing that is huge going into, the second half of the year. Southampton, another team to keep an eye on throughout this festive period, have got a run of very, very, very good fixtures. But as we said on Generation Leeds, it doesn't matter because Leeds are a point ahead. So if Leeds keep winning, we stay above Southampton. So that's the whole thing. Leeds need to be perfect. We all know that. But ultimately, Ipswich have a real, and they've shown rocky moments. It's knocked me off a little bit that the media is still focused on McKenna's unbelievable Ipswich and how they're able to pass out from the back and score unbelievable goals and it's not me being bitter. I understand that, and they're right. Ipswich have been brilliant systematically. They've been excellent, and McKenna is doing an excellent job. But what I also think is, Ipswich have faltered. They've drawn against Birmingham recently. They've drawn against Rotherham recently. They've lost against West Bromwich Albion. There's a reason McKenna wasn't up for Manager of the Month, not even as a nomination. It's because they've not been great. They've not been great, and Leeds United have been very decent in the past month or so. So there is no doubt we're gaining on Ipswich, but we need them to falter. But for Ipswich to falter, Leeds have to be nigh on perfect. The problem was there was an opportunity, there was a window where Leeds could have really capitalised on Ipswich losing, obviously, to West Bromwich Albion, and there was a massive complacency issue there against Rotherham where we drew 1-1. That was a big opportunity. This weekend is another massive opportunity for Leeds United to get the job done. And I think we can get the job done, and we'll have to wait and see how Blackburn face. But listen, the injuries that they've got is a big problem. Leeds have got a nigh on perfect squad when it comes to fitness. I'm expecting Leeds to go there and get the job done. There is nothing less than a win expected tomorrow. If Leeds come out with another draw, because we have faltered at points this season, let's not let we've been excellent, Leeds, but let's not make any mistake here. Leeds have faltered. We can count on two hands how many times we've faltered. We weren't into our stride, of course. We weren't at the start of the season, but even when we've been in our stride a little bit, you can hallmark Southampton, you can hallmark Stoke. Games like this, Rotherham, another one where Leeds have dropped points needlessly. Absolutely needlessly. So that's given us the almost requirement to be perfect. And I don't think Ipswich will be perfect, which is a big beneficiary to Leeds. The hope the team doesn't feel the need to go behind in every game. I'm sure it's not a rule. Yeah, 100%, mate. Real Madrid were after Joseph. He isn't even on the bench. He needs to get some minutes. Do you think Ipswich are over their wobble? Do you know what, Jason? I don't know if they've ever been in a wobble. I think they've had a little bit of a coming of age time, really, in the Championship. They've not had that yet because they've been on this consistency and momentum wave from League One. What they've had is a dose of Championship. They've had a dose of Rotherham, a dose of Birmingham, a dose of West Bromwich Albion. These away games, which they started the calendar year, and they still have. They've had an unbelievable home record. The discrepancy being Leeds United on that record, really the blemish. But aside from that, they've had a very, very good home record. But they also matched it at the start throughout with a very decent, away record. But that has faltered, and they go to Middlesbrough this weekend. We can't take away those external factors. It's a long trip from East Anglia to Teesside, and it's going to be grim. We all know what it's like. They've taken points off Leicester at home. I believe they've taken points off Southampton as well. It's going to be tricky when we go up to Borough. We all know that. But these are the games in the Championship which are tough. They're games that none of us want. Blackburn's going to be tough, and this is why the Championship is such a difficult league. It's because, there are so many games like this where teams are decent teams and they're up for it. They're up for the fight. And Ipswich are now a target because, they've proven themselves at the start of the season. So I don't necessarily think there was a wobble per se. I think this is just championship life. And then now that, teams are thinking to themselves, well, we can go at Ipswich. I think at the start of the season, they were almost a bit of a surprise factor, but the championships worked Ipswich out a little bit, even though they're doing a great job at the minute. They're playing lovely football. But I've always said this, when you're conceding 1 or 2 goals a game, that's going to turn at some point. You have to have a good defence in this division. And I think the second half of fixtures, the second half calendar, there's going to be a big wave towards Ipswich, because I think teams will have learned how to play against them. Now, systematically, they're a very good side from back to front. They play lovely free-flowing football. McKenna's an excellent coach. I'd argue that he's got them playing better football than Leeds United, but Leeds have better individual quality. Systematically, they're better than Leeds United, but Leeds have better quality. So which weighs itself out in the end? I think better quality weighs itself, definitely. The only person in recent memory who's dominated when it comes to systems overriding quality has been the only Marcelo Bielsa. And I'm just not 100% sure that McKenna's Ipswich systematically can override Leeds United, Daniel Farke's Leeds United, when it comes to quality. And hopefully we address that even further in the January window. So I think Ipswich, it's just a coming of age right now. And I think going to Borough is not going to be easy. But if we make a mistake again, and I say again, just in terms of some of the silly mistakes we've made this season, this weekend, we've only got ourselves to blame yet again. And it does make you think, if Leeds are continuing making just a few mistakes here and there, even though we've been very good, is the top 2 really destined for Leeds? As I say, because Southampton are just, they're just behind us right now. And if we continue to just make the occasional mistake, it's not good enough in a division this season where the top 2 are breaking away like never seen before. Farke will have to have a plan B, as other managers have sussed out how to counter presses. Yeah, there's definitely that. Even in all, back from the concert and fly on tomorrow. Got a layover in Kuala Lumpur. Tashin just letting us know what he's doing today. Cheers, mate. One game, our unbalanced defence will get found out. Our attack keeps bailing them out. This needs sorting in January, otherwise it will become a problem at the latter end of the season. I don't think you're wrong there, Jason, whatsoever, mate. I think we've got to see a few more. There's got to be a bit more control in games. I think the criticism that's been laid down at Leeds has maybe been the fact that we are very inconsistent. One half's good, one half's not. One half we've got to press, one half we haven't. One half we're scoring, the other half we're not. I get that's the dynamics of football. I get that's game state. But I think when you've got a side as good as we have, and I just want to emphasise, and you all know this anyway, but the quality of this side is unbelievable at this level. At this level, it's very good. Miles better than what we had with the Marcelo Bielsa era. Miles better. And you look at how that team was, adored and how quality they were. And that's why sometimes I will emphasise that Daniel Farke sometimes needs to give us a little bit more when it comes to system and idea space in games. I think a lot of it, as Jason said, sometimes can be reliant on the front line. And I get that. I understand that. That's how football works. You rely on certain personnel. But this weekend, it's going to be a test. It's going to be a test. As we've just mentioned, Yondal Thomason was up for Manager of the Month with Daniel Farke. Blackburn aren't doing bad at the minute, with a fair few injuries, Dolan being the main one as well. This is going to be a test because they are a good counter-attacking side and they have the lead scorer in the division. So there's going to be a real test of Leeds' resolve. Can we defend from set pieces? Are we going to be a little bit more consistent when it comes to that back 4? Are we going to be good in possession? Because sometimes I think when we're pressed, which I think Blackburn will do, because I think other teams have started to press us now. We saw it with Borough in large phases. I wouldn't say Borough were a massively pressy side. Suddenly they play Leeds in the pressing because they've got the idea from Swansea, who pressed before and got success. Leeds need to be able to deal with that. Are we going to go route one? Are we going to go above the press? We're going to hit the channels a little bit more. Are we going to try play through the press? What are we going to do? There needs to be an idea for when teams press Leeds, because we're getting that more and more often now. Thanks for these streams, Connor. No problem, Jammy. Thanks, mate. Away win 3-1. Leeds fan from Blackburn, Darwin, my biggest game of the season. I'll sadly be in the home game, the home end. I tell you what, Joel, they'll have a fair few seats there, mate, though, won't they? It's always empty, that place. I think Rutter needs to start showing his quality in front of goal. There's a lot of criticism, Bradley, when it comes to Rutter in terms of just his end product. And I think, we've seen big misses for him. There's a Plymouth game, there was a Hull game, and obviously there was a game against Middlesbrough. I think in front of goal, him only having 4 goals is mental when you think about it. His chance creation's been nothing short of mesmeric. But I'd like to see him get a few more goals, 100%. Away kick curse up the Leeds. Just seen Farke got manager of the month. He did, mate. Yeah, Jess Young. Hi, Jess. How you doing? 4-2 lead, says Jess. Just out for my work Xmas lunch, but glad to catch the live. Loving all the content, pal. Thanks, Jay. And yeah, we'll see you over on the Patreon, mate. Tash, I've gone through all the rigmarole with Tash, and he's going to bed now. Bradley says, Connor, are you able to get your videos into podcasts on Spotify? We will be doing that, mate. Not the Spotify as such. We are looking into that, but the debrief will be moving to audio podcasts as well. But what I will say is, well, we're going to make audio exclusive podcasts as well for something called The General and Across the Pond, which are 2 podcasts that will be starting on the Patreon if you guys enjoy your podcasts and all that sort of stuff. So check that out. Let's have a look. Some of your comments, loads coming in, which is great. Hi, Connor. Great to catch you live. Hi, Stu. Hope we get, Nakata says, hope we get all the remaining games this year, 18 points in the bag. Man of the match, first player of the match, yeah. Can anyone see us spending anything substantial in January? Personally, can't see anything without maybe selling Nonso. I heard Blackburn's top scorer was out, unless I've not heard anything, mate. Schmodix shouldn't be out for this one from what I've seen, unless it's a brand new injury scare. Gavin says clean sheet first 4 minutes, please, and that's it. We've got to start the games a lot better for me than we have been doing. But I'll be honest with you guys. I'm confident for this one. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Leeds win. You guys have been getting your comments in the section below, but I am going to go with a 2-1 Leeds win. Andrew says it's impossible to be perfect. The problem is, Andrew, is I wouldn't be tasking Leeds with being perfect if the top 2 hadn't had the best starts in Championship history. That's where the problem lies. You're going to struggle to be perfect. Of course you are, because no team and nobody's perfect. But if we're not perfect, we're going to be relying on the other 2 dropping serious points. And I would say if Ipswich are to come through this festive period with the same points difference, then I would think, and you guys might say, Connor, it'll only be January. But I think in this festive period, if you look at the calendar and you look at who Ipswich are playing within a very short space of time, including a decent amount of away games, I look at this period for them and I think this is where we catch them. And if they're to come through this, again, with a very good points tally, and let's say they start hitting form and they're able to, get a win against Leicester and beat Norwich comfortably, get a point at Leeds, and you're looking at it and you're thinking, oh, that's still the same points difference, and I thought we were going to narrow it down there. I think personally that's when I'm not going to worry, because there's a lot. I mean, we've got another however many more months left of the season, 4 or 5 months. It would be ridiculous to worry. But I'll be honest. From the start of the season, from when we played Ipswich, and then when they started going on this run, I had a look at their fixture list, and this was the point where I looked and thought, if we're going to get them, it's going to be this period. I was speaking to a Southampton fan yesterday, and he was saying the exact same when it came to Ipswich as well. He was saying that it's this period of time when you look at their fixtures throughout the season where we're going to get them. So, yeah, I think if it is still the same points tally by January, mid-January, I'm thinking, oh, that's going to be tough, because they're not letting up here, and that was a very congested period. Not only that, very tough games, and they've come through it. So, and I'm not saying it will be done there. I just think it'll be more difficult. 2-2, a lot of people are saying 3-2 Leeds. Knowing that perfection is impossible, it's all the more important to demand perfection. Aim lower, you miss lower. Gabe's been reading books, you can see there. He's probably going to put that on a mug. Like to see Jed Spence get some minutes in this one. I'd agree, mate. That would be my change for this one. I've mentioned in the previous video yesterday that I will be changing Archie for Jed for this one. Interested to hear if you guys agree with that. The reason I'd be doing that is because I think Archie needs a rest, and I think this is the perfect game for Jed. They're counter-attacking. Jed's recovery pace is exceptional. I think it's a good team for him to come up against. They're not world beaters or championship beaters, I should say, at this level. They're a good team. They're not a great team. And I also think that that'll set Jed up very, very nicely. It's not the pressure of a home crowd. It's going to be an away crowd. And I think we're going to hurt them going forward. And I think Jed is another lovely, lovely bit of artillery there going forward, as well as his recovery pace. 4-1 Leeds. Yeah, doesn't Ed Sheeran own Leeds? He does, mate. The top two play each other twice within a few weeks. Yet they do. And obviously Leeds are in there 4-1, says Gav. So yeah, everybody. It seems like everybody's on the same hymn sheet. Really, it's going to be. I think we're not naive. I think we all know this is going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough assignment. Blackburn's never been a good hunting ground for Leeds historically, but it's not going to be the same Blackburn as the Blackburn in the Premier League and all this sort of stuff. Obviously under Mark Hughes, but it's. I think it's a winnable game for Leeds United. It's a winnable game for Leeds, and if we are to win this game, it puts the pressure on Ipswich, and that's huge with a really tough away game. We've got to get this one right. We gained a point, but we missed an opportunity when it came to Rotherham and you know them losing to West Bromwich Albion. This is another big task for Leeds. If we get this one right, they lose. It narrows the points down to 4 going into a Christmas period, and even if they pick up a draw, it's a good result if Leeds are then to get a win. It narrows it, and then they're going into a festive period where they play the arch rivals in Norwich, who they haven't beaten in about 25 years. Then they've got Leicester, then Leeds United. It's a big weekend this for Leeds. It's a huge weekend for Leeds. I don't want anybody to underestimate this, but I really think it's a big one. Buddy. Thank you so much for joining. Please leave a like on the video. Please make sure you subscribe as well. The Patreon is available. We've got podcasts coming out there in the next week. We're gonna have player ratings on there tomorrow as well. It's £4 a month. It all goes towards the running of the channel. Really appreciate your support as always. Please make sure you're liking the video. I hope you're enjoying the increased amount of content. This is going to be the only live stream today. But guys, thank you so much once again. Keep getting your comments in. If you've just joined, hit the replay, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.